Welcome to the Impact Maker's Journey from Passion to Profits, the podcast showcasing heart-centered coaches, experts, and energy healers who are on a mission to change lives and create meaningful success doing what they love. I'm your host, Wendy Vaughn, business success coach and founder of Impact Maker Coaching. And I've got to be honest, the path from passion to profits is rarely easy, but it's always filled with growth, clarity, and surprising rewards. Now, each week I sit down with inspiring impact makers who have turned their knowledge and wisdom into thriving businesses that are making a meaningful difference for others. And we'll explore their personal and professional journeys, how they found their calling, and how they continue to stay aligned with their passion along the way. So if you're here to expand your vision about what's possible for yourself, you're in the right place. So join me as we discover the positive ripple effects created by today's guest. All right. Hi there. I have as my guest today, Melissa Henry. Now, Melissa is a brand strategist and founder of Helluva Brand. Now, she helps service-based, purpose-driven entrepreneurs to become known. So welcome, Melissa. I am so excited to have you as my guest today.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Wendy. I really appreciate you bringing me on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I'm super excited to discover more about you, your journey as an entrepreneur, and this great work that you're doing. Because
Thank you.
in my mind, the entrepreneurial journey is always really interesting because it's always unique. Everybody has their own path that they've, either clawed and scratched, to stay on, or doors have just opened, or it's been like serendipitous. So, and typically, it always includes those opportunities, as I say with air quotes, for personal growth, right? Do you agree?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
The stories, right?
Right. Yeah. The personal growth opportunities, meaning, we got to bounce, meaning, oh my God, now what? So let me ask you, are you the same person now as when you started out as an entrepreneur?
Not even close.
There you go. Business development and personal development seem to pretty much go hand in hand. And
Oh my God. That's like the biggest personal development I've ever had in my life was going full time in my business.
Exactly. We can read all those books and think we're doing all the right things. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe my brain has taken me down, this scary path. I guess I need to do some more work. So, and the thing is, the journey from passion to profits, it's not easy. But the one thing that really seems to be the same for all of us who are truly, purpose-driven, heart-centered, is that vision of making a meaningful difference for others. So I'd love to hear more about your specific journey. So start us off here. How long have you been a brand strategist?
So it's interesting. I didn't start off as a brand strategist. I started off as a photographer. Actually, before that, I was a CPA. So this is crazy. So I went CPA, I went photographer, and then I started I was working with my clients, but they were asking me questions that, they couldn't answer. And I was like, this is how we need to do your photo shoots. You need to be able to bring some emotion to this image. We need to tell a story, and they just didn't get it. And eventually, after me spending so much time educating myself on what brand really means, through some big names in the industry, I had a client come to me and say, well, can you coach me on that? Can you help me build a brand? And I was like, yeah, I think I can. So that's kind of the genesis of it. But yeah,
Wow.
I mean, that's quick and dirty about how I got there.
Yeah. So CPA is a very, in my mind, numbers oriented, statistics, spreadsheets, projections, da 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 da. Photography is very expressive, artistic. So you obviously have two sides of the brain that are very much activated here. And then
it's interesting
into being able to then teach somebody. That's a whole nother compartment, right?
Yeah, so, I think it's really about photography also has two sides. So there's a technical side. You need to understand that camera and exactly how you're going to get what you're looking for. And then, of course, you need to have that sort of artist eye and composition and all of the things, right?
Yeah.
And I there for the longest time I didn't understand how the CPA thing comes in, but it comes in because it's seeing patterns. It's recognizing how things relate. It's putting
Yes.
puzzles together. And
Mm-hmm.
so all of that soup was perfect. It was like the perfect storm, I guess, of how I was able to actually pull all of those aspects of me in order to be able to create, the brand strategy that I do now for people, for other people.
Interesting. Yeah. So it sounds like it was just a natural progression. People are like, oh my gosh, can you teach me how to do this? So
Mhm.
did you launch your business with a specific strategy, or was it just purely out of referral type business? People were, asking you, just curiously, in terms of you pivoted out of or including photography into brand development, brand strategy.
Mhm.
So just tell us a little bit more about that, because that's always, like I said, really interesting to understand how a person taps into their unique abilities. And
Mhm.
it takes a lot of courage to put
Oh
yourself out
yeah, I
of
mean,
business.
there was massive imposter syndrome along the way. I mean, let's not leave that part out because that is part of the story. But honestly, like I think what really kind of happened was that I really got into, and there was a couple of other photographers I was really good friends with at the time, and um, they were really into the photography side of things, and I found myself actually really getting interested in the strategy component of it and truly understanding the business and
Mm,
really figuring out, well, how do they actually put themselves in the most authentic light, and how do we actually get people to feel what it feels like to work with them? And so
mm,
I just kept going down rabbit holes to figure all that stuff out. And
right.
that became the thing I was really super interested in. And so
Mhm.
I, I don't know, there wasn't any other way. I don't know. Like I just sort of worked myself out of being that photographer. I kind of lost my love for the brand photography side of things
Mhm.
over time,
Mhm.
if that makes
Mhm.
sense. I still
Totally.
love
Yeah.
photography, but it just like doing that for clients wasn't enough. I felt I needed to do more.
Right. Yeah, I love what you're saying about, well, how do you actually do that? Because when I was starting out in sales is where, I originated in, I guess, a career pivot. Um, is it, oh, the common phrase, oh, build, know, like, and trust. People have to know, like, and trust you. Just get people to know, like, and trust you. And I was the same, like, well, how do you do that? I mean, I know
Yeah.
how you do that, but how do you do it intentionally? And how do you do it within a container? And how do you do it within 5 minutes? And how do you? The
Mhm.
same thing. I started peeling back the layers of, well, how does that really happen?
Mhm.
So I love that, similar kind of analytical, strategic part of your thinking.
Yeah.
So so you went into that area of, just learning and dissecting and distilling, and then it became apparent that this was really a need
Mhm.
for business
Oh,
owners.
absolutely. It was a need for everyone who came to me. And I will say it this way. I've really only and this was part of the imposter syndrome I had to get over because I don't know if you've ever been in your career, as an entrepreneur, if you've ever been like in a situation where you're talking to somebody and you're like, hmm, I feel like they know more, like, or they're farther along and they don't need me, this kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. So I really did have to get over that because and then once I did, and it took a while, but once I did, I realized, no way, I'm the expert in the room because I've done the deep dive, rabbit hole, researching, learning, applying, working with people. I've done that, right? And
Yeah.
so I don't know. I think it's I don't know. I'm just pretty sure that a lot of people probably have felt that way at some point when they're entrepreneurs and when they're starting out. They just think, well, everybody knows everything more than I do, and it's like, no, no, no,
Oh,
no.
that's
They do not.
right. That's so common when we're
Yeah.
experts in a certain area.
Mm-hmm.
It because we're experts, it just is easy for us,
Yeah.
and we
Yes.
forget that it's easy for us. It's not easy for them. you know,
Right.
and there's this misbelief or misunderstanding that, well, it has to be difficult in order for there to be value behind it. So it's
Right.
like, no, we can
There's that.
easily tell somebody, oh, you need red in your backdrop and then a
Mm.
black dress, with white dots, because you're going to stand out like nothing else, It's like, oh, you mean all this busyness isn't serving me? No, it's
Yeah.
not, Wendy.
Yeah.
So I know your specialty is working with these, service-based, purpose-driven entrepreneurs, which I want to understand really a little bit more about what delineates purpose-driven.
Okay.
But what curiously are some of the misunderstandings or common misbeliefs or myths that prevent, you know, entrepreneurs from feeling or understanding the value behind brand, developing their brand, amplifying their brand? What
hmm
what are some of those misunderstandings?
I think the main one that I always hear is I don't need a brand. Or kind of a similar one is I'm not ready for a brand.
Mm,
And that I think that stems primarily from the fact of people misunderstanding what it means. So most people want to start with, oh, that's my colors and my logo and my website, right? And that's not a brand. I mean,
it's not a brand.
it's not. What it really is the representation of the brand. So if you think about what I was doing before, I was working with people to create their brand photos, for their brand, right? But it was photos for their brand.
Right.
So in order to create the photo,
Yeah.
something that was really going to resonate, I had to have something underneath there. There
Right.
had to
The
be like a
context. The
thing that I was. Yes,
Mhm.
context. Exactly. So the same exact thing goes. And like, I think a lot of people also think that brand is marketing.
Yes.
It is brand is the thing that you have to create before you can market, at
Mm,
least before you can market effectively.
mm,
So can you go and get work without having a brand? Yeah, you can. I mean, that's how everybody starts mostly. If
mhm.
we're all super spaced entrepreneurs, we probably come out with some kind of, when we first start our businesses, we have an expertise. We go and we find clients. It's usually referral based, word of mouth, blah, blah, blah. And
Mhm.
that's okay because most of those people know you and you already have a brand. You've heard them say that. They know you by reputation,
Mhm.
right? They know you're going to give good work. But if you're going to take that anywhere beyond this sort of one to one, like, referral based or that kind of thing, if you're going to do anything beyond that, then you got to start developing that foundational brand
Mhm.
so that more people out there can learn about you and understand what your reputation is, but more than that, understand why you're different, why you
Yes.
know, what do you do? They have to get it.
Who are
And you
you?
can't
Right.
explain that to them, right? You don't have time to explain to the millions of people that you want to reach. So your brand has to do that for you.
Right.
And that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's beyond a logo.
Yeah. Why a logo doesn't explain that. It might be pretty or cool or
But it's just
whatever.
one little element. It's one piece of the entire
Yeah,
puzzle.
exactly. Here's a really good example if you want to take it from like big industry. So Apple, everybody understands the logo Apple, right? They see it and they get it. But what do they get? That it's a cool logo? No, they get all of the stuff underneath that, what Apple stands for,
Mhm.
the feeling that it feels like when you open your new iPhone package and you got this
Right.
cool,
Well, the
there's all of that.
innovation
Yes,
and the ease of using the equipment and
exactly.
quality and all those things. So,
Right.
yeah.
But the logo doesn't say that. It's just you've associated the logo with all of those things because they've done a great job
Yeah.
about marketing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so the marketing got out there, but they had to have something to market, right? So if you don't have
Mhm.
the brand, you have nothing to market.
Right.
If you didn't
Right.
know what your values are, if you don't know where you're headed, if you don't know who you're looking for, how do you explain that? How do you explain that to more than one person at a time?
Yes. So give us just a little, land the plane kind of moment here. What's going on for these and explain to us a little bit more about purpose driven. What's going
Mhm.
on for these purpose driven business owners that has them finally realized, oh my gosh, you know what? It's time for change here. It's time to ask Melissa
Mhm.
to, share some of her expertise, knowledge, and support because it's not happening. So give us just a
Yeah.
little bit of context there around that.
Yeah, I think it really depends. People come at this and from a lot of different angles, but I'll tell you a couple of different examples. So I have a client who he's a physician, and he had a consulting practice where he was helping other physicians build a good practice. He had a book that was coming out. He had he was taught at a university. He used to have a practice and didn't have one anymore. So he's had all of these things going on, but he couldn't ever really explain how they all connected. And so as a result, he wasn't able to tell people what he did or what he wanted them even to do. Like how if you're out networking, you have no other like what do you want people to do right now? Like do you want them to come to school and learn from you? Do you want, what do you want? Like do you want them to buy your book? I don't know.
The next
So he
step.
came to
Mhm.
me. You say that again? The next step?
Yeah, what's the next step? That's
Yeah.
what people need to have in mind, right? Just like you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, and what he said was he's like, well, it all really came about. This is kind of a funny thing. He goes, so I have this book, right? And I want to get it out there. I'd love for it to become a bestseller or something. He goes, so I went to a PR person and I said, I need PR for my book. And she said, you don't have a brand. And so she sent him to me. And I was like, yeah, you
Uh-huh.
don't. You don't have a brand. And so we decided together whether the brand was company or it was personal brand. And we realized it really was a personal brand as the parent brand. There's a lot of detail there, but whatever. So that's what we did for him. We helped him figure out, well, how did all of this stuff actually come together? And what we realized is the defining thread through all of those initiatives that he was doing is that he's a disruptor and
Mm,
he wants to change the medical industry on both sides of the coin. He wants to change it from the Western medicine and the East, I guess, alternative medicine or whatever you want to classify it as.
mhm,
So we built a brand around that. And
mhm,
now he's able to we discovered that what he needed was a course for those other physicians to take so that the book leads to the course. And, then he also decided he wanted to open his practice back up again. And so now he's got those three things. And the practice is helping him teach the course. So it all sort of interconnects.
mhm. Right. Yeah. So now
And so
it's
that's just one way. That's just one time when someone goes, "Yeah, I need a brand now because I can't go further without this."
right. Right. So it sounds like, getting your perspective, your support, your ability to really distill the essence of what is that standout feature or, not feature, but essence of somebody is really creates then a solid foundation. So, after working with you, then, what's the ultimate end result? Because those are a lot of almost like moving parts to bring into,
Yeah,
symmetry.
absolutely. There's more. I mean, I think a lot of people do struggle with being able to decide who it is that they want to work with, and so like really getting clear on who their ideal client is. There's, not really having direction, so really truly understanding where are you going really like what is the big vision here. There's more like sort of technical things around like is it a company brand, is it a personal brand. There's reasons behind those things, and there's a lot of other kind of related things like how do we actually bring people through a customer journey that dovetails a bit into the marketing side of things. But the point being is that it's a puzzle. It's a puzzle. And so that's why I sort of said towards the beginning that this background that I have in putting puzzles together from the financial perspective really came in handy here because I can see how everything fits
Mhm,
together.
mhm.
So that's what I mean. There's a lot here, and we don't just hang our hat on it's one thing or another. It's not just positioning, it's not just ideal client, it's not just vision, it's not just values, but it's how does that all come together to create something so cohesive that people get it right out the gate.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
I get it. I know
And
what this
like I
is.
said, help them become known because,
Yes.
there are so many experts, brilliant people out there that still feel like a best kept secret, right?
Yeah.
Why?
Most feel like that.
And that is because there just hasn't been this, um, I guess, understanding of how a brand can really bring that all together.
Yes. And I think that's the big mistake, right? So it's like, okay, I want to go out and I want to market myself because that is the thing people want to do.
Yep.
That is, open up your inbox and you're going to see a million and one things that you've subscribed to where they're selling you the next thing. And I'm not putting them down at all because these people have great experience. Most of them know what they're talking about when it comes to that marketing tactic, right? But what they don't talk about is that, okay, look, I might teach about like doing challenges. And challenges are a great way to bring in new clients into your business. Yes, of course they are. But what if those clients that you're trying to bring in don't sign up for challenges? Maybe you sell something that's like high ticket, like a, I don't know, like it's a one-on-one consulting arrangement with a corporate, buyer.
Hmm.
They are probably not sitting through a challenge. And so why are you deciding that that's a tactic you should take when
Hmm.
that's not how they're buying? So it's my point is that, I mean, I think that's the biggest problem people have mostly is really trying to go after the marketing without really understanding all of this stuff so that when they do get to that stage, that they can actually do this simpler, easier, more effectively, reach the right people. It,
Hmm.
it it just makes it easier. And that's why I said earlier that, people think brand is marketing and it's not,
Hmm.
you know, but the marketing won't be effective. I promise people, I promise anyone's listening here, marketing will not be effective until you understand that. Unless what you want to do is go door to door, face to face, and explain this to everybody every single time.
Mm. Yeah, not going to happen. Not
Right?
going to happen.
Who wants that?
Yeah, no, that's, it makes so much sense, just to look at it from a bigger picture
Yeah.
perspective. So it's just a bunch of random tactics, bring this
Yeah.
all cohesively into a message, an energy, right, that really represents that unique elements that creates you. Why you?
Hmm.
Why you versus somebody else? It's like Apple versus,
Yeah. Versus
Samsung
Microsoft.
or something.
Why?
You know,
Hmm.
exactly. It's so that bigger picture of those different tactics all coming together. So yeah, I love that. And obviously you're very passionate
I
about
am.
doing this work. I
I
love
totally am.
to feel that energy that's exuding from you. And I'd love to hear your secret because what I've seen over and over and uh, countless times during the 7 some years now that I've been coaching other experts who are wanting to be known and sell their wisdom, knowledge, and support is that frequently the frustrations and challenges of building a business, you know, plus the inconsistent results, really take their toll on that original
Yeah.
passion. It
Yeah.
becomes complex and incohesive and all of that. So, but
Right.
what, the that type of struggle, like you mentioned, is really not necessary, which
Hmm.
is why you and I love the work that we do.
Yes.
Because we can, without a shadow of a doubt, with the right strategy, right? Every purpose driven entrepreneur can have that thriving business that is just amplifying who they are. So Melissa, what is your secret for refueling your passion for serving
Mm.
these entrepreneurs? How do you
Mm.
keep your passion for doing
Well,
this?
I'm not gonna lie. I've had my share of of like hitting that wall and feeling like what I like no one's hearing me,
Yeah,
or
I
like,
know.
oh my
I know.
God, I
But we can hear how you just, you love this work. You love this work.
yes,
So how do you stay in
yes.
love with this work?
Well, that's I was gonna go in that direction because here's the thing is there's times where I will just go, I'm tapped out and what do I do? And literally, it's at those moments that I just have to step away. Just literally walk away, go do something else. Sometimes it just means I got to go to bed early, or I don't know.
Right.
Um, I know that I should be continuing to do this work because I always at some point start having ideas again.
Mhm.
So I so it's like, yeah, okay, you got smacked upside the head right now. You got to walk away. The next thing you know, if you like when you don't think about it or you just try to go do something else, you start getting more ideas or you start get like, oh, I should write a post about that. And then it's like, okay, then I know this I'm not going to walk away from this
Right.
because I'm still interested. I still want to learn about it. I still want to geek out on it with anyone who wants to do that. So kind of like we're
Yeah.
doing today. So I think that's how I know. I think that's how I keep it too, is just
Just keep
get
getting
away for a little bit.
those downloads and that
Yeah.
inspiration. Oh, I get to do. Oh, this is something I need to share. Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I believe that really helping people to achieve those new levels of success in their careers, in their lives, is creating a huge ripple effect. And
Mm.
seeing that impact that the work that you do is having on people is has got to be also that continuous reward of just like, oh my gosh, this I love doing this work because look at how the floodgates are opening for them. So one of my
Yes, every single time I have a client that says something like that, like,
yeah.
I have one that she just said to me, and she's been in the marketing industry and for a long, long time, like 20 years or something, doing her own thing, like having her own business. And when she came to work with me, she was kind of like, yeah, I already know she's not going to have anything for me. And then we start working together and she goes, well, dang it, I didn't realize. and and I was like, yeah, still got
Yes,
it. No,
yes.
but it was, it's so nice to
Absolutely.
hear that
Hmm.
there's still ahas for them. Like, there's still a
Yeah.
next level to get to. There's still more to work to be done. There's
Hmm.
still your brand is always evolving.
One by one by one. Yeah. It
Yeah.
is that our own dopamine hit, right? It's like, oh my God,
Yes.
this was great. This was a great session.
Yes.
One of my mentors early in my career was Mark Victor Hansen, the
Hmm.
co-author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series,
Yeah. Yeah.
and created a movement, right?
Hmm.
He and Mark Victor Hansen. I actually was in a mastermind with he and Bob Proctor. It
Oh,
was
that's
called the
cool.
3% Club, and oh my gosh, talk about visionaries and just people
Yeah.
that just. I mean, if you didn't have wind beneath your wings, you're going to get wind beneath your wings just by being around these people because they have such this sense of contribution and making the world a better place and just living life with gusto. And one of the things that he taught me, and I'm sure tens of thousands of others, right, is he said, Wendy, you need to have just a big, hairy, audacious goal, something that fuels your passion, something that helps you to overcome all this little stuff,
Mm.
And so for me, I've always had some iteration of a big, hairy, audacious goal in my entrepreneurial path. And as a business coach, the thing that fuels me is raising consciousness within humanity. And you think, well,
Mm.
yeah, that's big, Wendy. But the way I see it is helping strategists, coaches, healers, you know, to do more of the work that they've been gifted to do, right? And create those thriving businesses is what is raising consciousness because people are waking up to, well, I really could I really could double my business. I really could, and they're achieving more as a result of working with you and
Yes.
others like you. And so for me, I'm just the instrument, right? I'm part of
Yeah.
what's raising consciousness. And that excites me. It's like every day I get to contribute, one little bit, but the ripple effects are infinite. So
I love that.
so I'm going to put you on the spot, Melissa. Do
Sure.
you have a big audacious goal or vision for yourself or your business?
Yeah, and it's very similar to what you're saying there because that is exactly how I view myself. It's like this is just it listen, all this stuff's coming through me, not from me, but through me.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I so that's like that's that keeps me going also, just by the way. But the biggest goal for me is to also see that. Like, let's see, we have so much going on in the world right now. It sort of feels really heavy for a lot of people and for a lot of different reasons. And so I want to see, that's why I said purpose driven, because I really do feel that people are purpose driven. The way that I define it is that they're there for humanity in some way, shape, or form. It
Mm-hmm.
is in their whatever their corner of humanity is. That's what they're there to do. They have a purpose to make humanity better, to do something for the world. So
Right.
for me, it's like if I could help, and I don't have like a number per se, but I would say thousands. Let's say thousands of these people actually make it, then that's my
Yes.
work.
Yes.
That's the reason. So let's make it big, hairy, audacious. Like, no, not even 1,000. Let's say 5,000 of them.
There
I
we
don't know.
go. Yes.
Can I help
Yes.
5,000 purpose-driven people do
Mm-hmm.
this? God, I hope so.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. I love
Yeah,
that. Absolutely. Yes, because that ripple effect is infinite. So,
it is.
Melissa, this has just been a great conversation. Do you have an opportunity or like a free gift or something that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Truly. I have a brand new quiz. It's called the Brand Impact Score.
Oh,
And I can give you the link, or you drop the link
yep.
here.
Just look in
Um,
the show notes,
mhm.
listeners. You'll find the
And
link.
it's fun. It's like 5 minutes. You're going to get to see these questions. I've written them so that it makes you think. I want you to think about where you are with things. But at the end, you'll get a score. And you'll also find out where you are. Like you'll have a little kind of a narrative of kind of where you are in this brand building journey.
Okay.
And then there's, of course, an invitation to come do things with me or, even go take some things further with like another offer or whatever. So,
Okay.
but all of that said, I think it'll help you see where you are with brand, with marketing, and with confidence in your
That
business.
clarity. Awesome.
Mhm.
Awesome. No, that sounds like a fun quiz to
Yeah.
take. I know I'm going to be taking it.
You
So
should take
what's,
it.
yes, absolutely. So what's the best next step for these purpose-driven, service-based entrepreneurs who are curious about the possibility of working with you because they realize that I'm leaving some money on the table. I'm not making my biggest impact because things are just kind of wonkers here. So what's the
Yeah,
best next
yeah.
step?
Well, I'm a big fan of making it simple. So come see me, like come connect with me on LinkedIn and say that you heard me on this podcast. That would be the best way to go because I'm always on there. And then, getting on a call and having a discussion. I'm really good about just like, let's just hear about you. Let's just hear about your business. We may not be a fit to work together, but until I actually can talk to you, I'm not really sure where you are with things. So it's always a good idea. Just start there and then we
Okay.
take it from there.
All right, fantastic. Simple enough. Well, Melissa, thank you again. This has just been a wonderful conversation. I really
Mm.
appreciate you sharing a little bit of transparency around your journey and how you started out with this business and some of the, low spots of, imposter syndrome. We all have that. We all face those kinds of things. But at the end of the day, we know that, we're an expert. And making it through those speed bumps and just doing this powerful work, important work that you're doing now, and truly expanding our view of the value of what proper branding can do for a business, because that for
Oh,
me has just really been an eye opener. So thank you
oh,
so
so
much
good. Yeah,
for
thank you
sharing
for
your
having me.
insights, your perspectives, and thank you so much for the work that you're doing.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's really been fun. And yeah, I mean, anytime.
All right, my pleasure. All right. Well, the real life transformations facilitated by experts like my guest today are truly priceless. I mean, happiness, joy, peace, love, right? These are all what each of us ultimately strives for in life. But becoming a sought after and well paid coach or energy healer is often challenging, overwhelming, and frustrating. So, if you're a heart centered coach, expert, or energy healer who's striving for more ease, flow, and abundance, well, I've created a special gift just for you. So, check out the show notes. All right. Well, this is Wendy Vaughn signing off. Thank you so much for tuning in, and be sure to join me for my next episode, where we'll be inspired by yet another impact maker's journey.